Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Cop Table podcast. I am your host for tonight. I'm Gav. I'm standing in for Peter Phillips, who's been ridiculous and going away and doing holidays and stuff like that. With me tonight, I have Jay Riley and I have Richard Brereton as the Southampton fan for this show. We're going to get straight into it. This show will be about 30 minutes long. We're going to have a look at, the opening days for both sides. We're going to have a look at the Super Cup for Liverpool, some lineup predictions, and I suppose some score predictions as well. Before we get into the chat and stuff like that, I'd like to give a shout out to the No More Knives campaign. I know it's something that Peter is a big follower of and a big supporter of, so I just want to give that a shout out before we get going. But on to the chat, and Jay, I'll talk to you first. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. It's always nice to win another trophy, and we can move forward now and try and win bigger trophies this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Richard, how are you? How are you getting on?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Bit disappointed after the first game of the season, but hoping to bounce back with a positive performance this week.
Okay, yeah. I seen that result of the weekend, and we will get into that in a couple of minutes. Jay, I'm going to come to you first, though. There was a Cop Table podcast last Wednesday? I think it was Wednesday, and you were discussing the Norwich game that come up. We were at the Norwich game, myself and yourself met for a drink before it. How did you feel it went for the first game of the season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when you're playing a newly promoted side, it's one of them situations where you don't really know what to expect, and they're pretty fearless, aren't they? Because it's the first game back in the big time, and I just thought Liverpool caught them cold in the first half, and to go 4-0 up at half time was just, Liverpool are capable of blowing teams away, and that's exactly what we've done to Norwich. And I think they were a little bit naive, to be honest, because they came and had to go, and you can't really fault them for that attitude. But obviously they left themselves wide open at the back, and Liverpool put them to the sword, really. And the only disappointing aspect for me was, obviously it's all important the first game to get 3 points and get off to a flyer. But when you're 4-0 up at half time, I thought in the second half, we sort of took our foot off it a little bit. And yeah, okay, you don't want to overexert yourself because, it's a long, hard season ahead. It's the opening day. We already had the 3 points in the bag. But when you analyse the second half, I mean, Norwich actually won the second half, didn't they? Because they pulled a goal back, and Liverpool did have chances first 15-20 minutes of the second half and could have easily been 5 or 6-0 up. But it just took the gloss off it a little bit for me. And, when we sort of looked a little bit open, I thought, offensively, and something seems to have changed. And it's probably this VAR stuff, isn't it, where we're playing with more of a high line, really. And because of that reason, the opposition, obviously we've had 2 games, we played against Chelsea as well, and the opposition have had quite a few opportunities against us. And I think that's maybe a tact from Klopp to say, let's play a little bit further forward. So it pushes the opposition back when Liverpool are in possession, but then obviously it leaves the option of the ball over the top, and Liverpool could get caught out. And we've seen the other night against Chelsea, they scored 2 goals, but both of them were disallowed. And maybe he's doing it to maybe play Liverpool a little bit further forwards. But it's a bit of a dangerous game playing the high line for me. And sooner or later we could get found out a little bit like that and conceive from it. But like I say, we got the 3 points against Norwich, and pretty routine stuff of what we've become accustomed to, really. Liverpool putting teams to the sword, especially at Anfield, and it was just great to get the 3 points and get off to a flyer.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I've said it on shows. I do shows every day for the day trippers, and I've said it all along. I felt Liverpool were nowhere near their best. I thought they were at about 70% in the first half, about 50%. Second half, probably 50%. I'm being honest. It looked like they completely laid off the thing. The high line is an interesting thing that we'll probably get onto when we're talking about teams and what way the teams may play later. But I think Liverpool cantered through the game. I really do. Sorry, Richard. Your opening of the season wasn't the best. A 3-0 defeat, wasn't it? And I was impressed with Southampton towards the back end of last season with their new manager in place. He seemed to have a lot more intensity to their play. He seemed to get rid of some regulars out of the side and put lads in that were willing to work to his system. Just hasn't. I don't know what your pre-season was like, but was last Saturday a sign of what was to come? From the pre-season, or was pre-season decent?
Pre-season was decent. We won. We went undefeated. We had one draw and won the rest of the games. We didn't play the best of teams. I suppose the best we probably played was either FC Köln or Feyenoord, who, no disrespect to them, they're not really the same level of quality that you're playing in the Premier League. You're right to say that we did pick up under Hasenhüttl when he came in, but the last 4 or 5 games of the season weren't great. After we confirmed our safety, we sort of switched off a little bit. Everyone was really positive going into the Burnley game, and we sort of, although it was scrappy, we kind of kept toe to toe with them for the bit. But after that horrific mistake by Vestergaard, who basically just jumped under the ball, allowing Ashley Barnes to come in and score, we just completely fell to pieces after that and conceded 2 more goals quickly. We were losing the ball, mistiming first passes, and it was just a horror show from then onwards. So hopefully we can bounce back this week and put in a much better performance. Otherwise, it could get ugly.
Just on the start of the season for you, what were your expectations going into the season? Because Southampton struggled for a lot of last season. As I said, picked it up. It's Hasenhüttl, I think is the. I hope I'm saying that correct. When he came in, it seemed to pick up a little bit, and there was a lot more confidence going into this season. We know what Liverpool's expectations are for the season, but what are Southampton's?
The expectations for this season is a solid mid-table, no relegation fight, and a good platform to build going forward. We've had a few years of turbulence. We're trying to sort the club out. There's still a few more players that we need to shift out the door that are just not training with the first team squad and costing the club quite a lot of money. But this season we need to realistically be looking at sort of that 10th to 14th range and a really good platform going forward.
Yeah, I suppose somewhere where you're not in danger and you can, pick up points as you go along, maybe, try different things as the season goes on. I suppose walking towards next season, as you said, where you're probably getting some of these players out the door that you don't want, and it enables then the team to, or the club to reinvest that money in players that the manager might actually want. Jay, I want to go on to the Super Cup with you. Liverpool beat Chelsea on penalties on Wednesday night. A lot of people delighted with the win. Absolutely, it's another trophy, it's another European trophy, but a lot of people put off at the fact that we had to play 120 minutes penalties. I think it's a 3,000 kilometre round trip or something along them lines. But I know it might be tiring on the legs, but surely, Jay, is it another boost for the squad? Going into the season as European champions, they win the first league game, they go and win that competition. Surely they come back to Liverpool and they're bouncing, ready to go again.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously it's great, isn't it, winning trophies, because, Liverpool have been starved of it, haven't we, the last few years. So it's great to pick up another one, and a European one against, a Chelsea side that, going into the game, I thought our fans were quite embarrassing, to be honest, on Sunday evening when Chelsea lost 4-0 to Man United, because it certainly wasn't a 4-0 game. If anything, I thought Chelsea were arguably the better team, and Manchester United just caught them cold on the counter-attack, really, and Chelsea were really unfortunate in that game. Hit the post, hit the bar, controlled possession for large periods, and for me, I say they were the better team for me, and 4-0 was an absolute freak scoreline, but some of our fans on Sunday evening were like, oh, we'll murder Chelsea, we'll do this, we'll do that. Let's get real about it. Chelsea is still a very good side. I know they've lost Hazard, who's their best player, but Pulisic is a very good signing for them, and they play with pretty fearless under Lampard for me, and so it proved, to be honest. In the first half, Chelsea were by far and away the better team. They took the lead through Giroud and could have easily been 2 or 3-0 up at half time, to tell you the truth. They were well a better team. Liverpool just did not get going at all. Midfield was abysmal, really. We just got totally overrun. And, obviously people are looking at Klopp's team selection as well, because, Firmino was fantastic against Norwich on Friday night. He was man of the match and he left them out. And I know it's all about managing the squad at this moment in time, because, it's fitness levels and what have you, but he was on fire against Norwich, really. He was outstanding. He was man of the match. So really, to leave him out was a little bit questionable. And then they brought him on at half time. He just completely transformed the game. We got the equaliser. Obviously Firmino played his part in it, and Mane was the one that scored the goal. And then Liverpool were totally in control second half, I thought, but then we didn't get that second goal, and Kepa made a couple of good saves, didn't he, to keep us out. And towards the end of the game, we were hanging on a little bit and went to extra time, and it's something that we didn't really particularly want, because, it's the start of the season, it's a long trip to Istanbul, obviously we've had to travel back as well, and, it wasn't ideal at all because, a lot of the play, we had quite a few issues in the game, really. Van Dijk looked like he picked up a little bit of a niggle. You had Robertson got replaced, didn't he, in the game? Also, James Milner went off. And you had Fabinho towards the end. He was riddled with cramp, wasn't he? And, there was a few issues amongst the lads because a lot of them were fatigued as well. You could see they were really tired and, justice was served in the end, no, because fantastic goal by Mane to put us 2-1 up, but it was a shocking decision to allow the penalty. Tammy Abraham basically dived and the referee got conned and she, I thought she refereed the game decent, but then she got a massive decision wrong there because it was dive, and I just don't understand what VAR is all about because surely to God they should have overruled it on the replays. He didn't touch him, he pulled out and justice was served in the end because the irony of it was when it went to a penalty shootout, Liverpool scored all 5 of their penalties and Tammy Abraham, who dived for the penalty in extra time to keep Chelsea in the game, basically missed a vital penalty, hit it straight down the middle and Adrian saved it and he becomes a hero. And it's a fantastic story, isn't it, for the lad, because he was a free agent really. He was training on his own, wasn't he, in Spain, and Liverpool, got the call from Liverpool and Liverpool have signed him up and he's just won as a trophy there or contributed massively to winning the trophy anyway. When you look at the penalties, I thought Trent Alexander-Arnold's and Origi weren't the best penalties and Kepa should really have saved them. But,
yeah, absolutely.
You need that little bit of luck, don't you, to win a trophy, and that's exactly what we got. But I do think, it was a massive test for us because, as I say, I was fully expected Chelsea to turn up and get a reaction from the defeat that they had at Old Trafford, and so it proved. I thought they were very good on the night, and you can't discount them this season. Everyone's saying they'll miss out on top 4, the naivety of Lampard's inexperienced manager, but I thought there was a lot of positives for Chelsea anyway, but it's always good that we were the ones that won the trophy, and as you're saying now, going into this game means Southampton. It's not ideal preparation, of course it isn't, because Southampton have had a full week's preparation. Liverpool have had a long journey to Istanbul. But the facts are, it breeds confidence, doesn't it, winning trophies? And that's exactly what Liverpool have just done. So really, we should be bouncing going into this game. Yeah, I take on board, as I've just touched on there, about the issues that we've got, a few little injury niggles here and there. Obviously, Adrian got injured in the celebrations, didn't he, when the fan ran on the pitch? Absolute freak, really.
Yeah. There's a guy here called AJ Smith who on the comment section is saying, can we mention about the fans on the pitch? So walk away, Jay.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a bit worrying, isn't it, really? And Klopp's mentioned it in his press conference about it because we actually had a sticker at Anfield last week against Norwich. Some fella ran on the pitch, Bolloco and all that, and Klopp mentioned it, didn't he? Like, he wants to see that, and he's right, isn't he? It needs to be, addressed, really, and then look what's happened there in Istanbul as well, where the fans ran on and he ended up injured in our keeper and could have been a lot worse. He's only got a swollen ankle. He could be okay. He's saying he's going to be okay to play now, isn't he? So, it remains to be seen what happens when the team selection comes out tomorrow afternoon. But, I think he probably will play, but it's still not ideal, is it? Because he's got a little bit of a niggle and he's another player. I mentioned the players before who went off, with fatigue and cramp and what have you, and little knocks. He's another one now, isn't he? Because he's got this ankle issue. But I'm sure Liverpool will still feel like they'll have enough to go to Southampton and win the game. But, like I say, that game will have taken a lot out of Liverpool in midweek. So I think going forward into this game on Saturday, it's important, I think, to get our noses in front quite early on and try and get the game won early because Liverpool could tire towards the end of the game. And that's how Southampton might come on strong.
Yeah, somebody says here they'd love to see a few of the kids play against Southampton. Listen, we're going to get into that. Someone else is asking what is our best midfield. We'll see what our best midfield is. Well, we're only going to discuss the best one for Saturday. But look, we might as well get on to like team selections and different things like that, and the way we're going to set out to play. Richard, Southampton. Whenever Liverpool go to Southampton, it's quite an intense game. It's one that can be. Sometimes Liverpool go and win. Sometimes they've been beaten the odd time, but there's always a great intensity to it. The one last season was nip and tuck until Liverpool showed that little bit of class towards the end and got 2 goals through Salah and Henderson in a crucial time in the season. But do you expect the same on tomorrow? Do you expect the same tomorrow? Do you expect it to be, a lot of passion, a lot of pace? And what way do you see Southampton lining up? And probably more importantly, how do you see them approaching this game?
Yeah, definitely seeing it being an intense game. There's definitely an extra pressure and energy when playing against Liverpool due to the sort of transfer history over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
I'd expect Hasenhüttl to set the team out to try and press Liverpool high, try to not let you explode on those counter-attacks as you caught us at the end of last season, try and win the ball back high up the pitch. But if we can't do that, I'd expect us to try and sort of sit, be compact, press you, make you make a mistake in your attacks and try and hit you on the break. The big concern would be if we do that and then you win the ball back and hit us on the break in turn. We've seen how dangerous Salah, Mane, various other players, Origi, have been in the past. So we need to be careful with that and not take any sort of stupid risks and give you the chance to hit us on the break.
Yeah, absolutely. So line-up wise and formation wise, taking all that into consideration, like, what way do you think Southampton will go? Because all I think about when I think of Southampton away is Shane Long turning up and being, Maradona for 90 minutes, because that's what he usually gets up to. But line-up wise and formation wise, what way do you think he will go, Richard?
I don't actually think Shane Long's going to be in the squad this time. He may have a place on the bench, so you'll be saved that.
Okay.
I'd like to see us play 4 at the back, but I think we will stick with a 5 at the back due to the concerns about the quality and effectiveness of some of our defensive players. So saying that, I expect to see Angus Gunn in goal. He didn't have the best game against Burnley, but I think the club's decided that he's the man to stick by in goal, so I think he'll play. The 2 wing backs will be Jan Valery and Ryan Bertrand, I would have thought. And in between them, Jan Bednarek will play. And then I would have thought Vestergaard will play. And there's talk that the new signing, Kevin Danso, may come in for Jack Stevens. Maybe a bit soon, considering he's only been training with us for a week. But it may be something that Hasenhüttl decides is worth the risk. But otherwise, you could see Yoshida coming in for Jack Stevens if he doesn't think that Danso's ready. In midfield, I'd expect to see Oriol Romeu, Pierre Højbjerg if he's recovered from his illness, and James Ward-Prowse, with then Nathan Redmond and Che Adams ahead of them. Okay.
Che Adams is an interesting one. I just wanted to see how he's got on pre-season, and is there high expectations for him there? A big move from him.
Yes, there is. It was well publicised. The club tried to sign him in January, and Birmingham weren't keen to sell due to the transfer embargo and him being worth more to them staying there and helping them stay in the Championship. So we've been after him for a while. He came in right at the start of the summer, so he has been with the squad for a while. And he looked good in pre-season games. He's linked up well with Ings and Redmond and bagged himself a few goals. He seemed to have developed a habit of scoring early goals. I think he scored 2 goals in the first 6 or 7 minutes of games in pre-season. So hopefully he can continue in that vein going forward. He didn't have the best of games against Burnley, but hopefully he can show what he can do on Saturday.
Okay. And Danny Ings, will we see anything of Danny Ings? He plays against his former club now, a club that he holds a lot of affection for, because I suppose the way Liverpool stood by him through injuries. Danny Ings to come back and maybe get one at the weekend?
Potentially. He started against Burnley, but as I'm sure Liverpool fans are aware, with his injuries, he's not the quickest player anymore, but he has adapted his game to drop deep quite well and start building up attacks. I just feel with the way that Liverpool play and the way that we see our chances of pinning goals, we'll need to have pace on the counter-attack. So I can see him dropping out, playing the extra midfielder to help us win the ball back, and then we can just release Adams and Redmond on the counter-attack. But he'll definitely be on the bench, and there's a strong possibility that if he doesn't start, he will be on for the last sort of half an hour of the game.
Okay. Jay, I get the impression that this trip to Turkey has taken, in your opinion, has taken quite a bit out of the team, and it's left you a little bit concerned over this game tomorrow. So I'm expecting you to name a team that would have a couple of changes in it. Would I be right in saying that?
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got to analyse the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't start the game, and I didn't say before about Joe Gomez, who I thought had an absolute mare, to be honest, on the night, at full-back, but he's not a full-back for me, he's a centre-half, so I think, he has done a stint there for Liverpool in the past, but I think it's sort of like put it to bed, really, that Trent Alexander-Arnold should be Liverpool's right-back moving forwards, because Joe Gomez had a torrid evening for me, and I just think if you're going to play the lad, play him in his rightful position, which is centre-half, and because Trent didn't play much of the game the other night in Istanbul, he'll come in at right back for me, and then hopefully Andy Robertson's okay to play left back. Adrian also, hopefully he'll be fit, and his ankle's not too bad, so he'll start the game. And then centre half pair, and you'd have to say Van Dijk if he's okay alongside Joel Matip. The middle of the park now, Fabinho's an interesting one, isn't he? Because he was really cramped up, and it remains to be seen how that's affected him really, moving forward into this game. And the other thing as well, Jordan Henderson's just played 2 games in the space of 5 days, and he played the full game, didn't he, or extra time and what have you. So it's unusual for him to do that because his game time's normally managed by Klopp. So it'd be interesting to see if he starts the game. And this is it, it's very difficult to select an 11 because I say it time and time again to Peter, it's really difficult to second guess him because, we know like the main guys are going to play the likes of Van Dijk and your Salahs and your Firminos and your Manes if he's going to pick his strongest 11. But because he is going to probably rotate a little bit, it's difficult to really pick your 11, isn't it? I mean, there's probably an argument to say maybe would Lallana possibly start this game in pre-season? He tried them out, didn't he? Fabinho is struggling a little bit because of what happens in midweek. Then, there was all the talk, wasn't he, pre-season, that Lallana's going to be given the opportunity to play as sort of like the number 6, which I'm not sure I'd be too keen on, to be honest, but he does tend to keep the ball well, but he just doesn't do the other things that Fabinho does, so it's one to keep an eye on when the team comes out on Saturday afternoon. But you've also got to consider Wijnaldum may well start the game as well because, he didn't start it in midweek, and then the front 3, it's interesting with Salah because obviously he played the full game, but Mane got taken off, didn't he, before the end of the game, before penalties anyway. Firmino only come on for the second half, so it's going to be a very interesting team selection. But me personally, I would suggest that he probably will go with the main 3 up front, try and get our noses in front, try and get the game won early on because I'm fully expecting Liverpool to potentially, we could tire towards the end of the game really. So it's important to be in front at that stage when Southampton could very well come on strong. But as we look at last season's game against them towards the back end of the season in April time, I thought it was a very difficult game. I mean, Liverpool were, we went behind, didn't we, early on, could have been 2-0 down, and then we got back into the game. There was 10 minutes to go. We were looking down a barrel of a draw, really, and then we scored 2 late goals to put the gloss on the game, on the scoreline. We won 3-1, didn't we, get the 3 points that much needed at the time. And I do think it'll be tough because I just think this new manager, Hasenhüttl, he's come in and he's done a really good job, really. He's got like this type of character about him that's very similar to Klopp, really, when he first took over at Liverpool. And I think with Southampton, they seem to be quite good at home. The back end of when he took over last season, they seemed to be quite good at St Mary's anyway. So I do think it'll be a tough game. And with it being at the start of the season, it is a potential banana skin for Liverpool to maybe drop points. But I just hope that Liverpool get the job done early on and then, get the game won, if you like, early on before, Southampton maybe get a little head of steam.
Okay. Just from my point of view, I look at it and I look at Liverpool having a week off after this game. So he might be looking to players to dig in. One big performance before they get a week's break from games. But it's a lot more of a recovery period than what we've had between Istanbul and I suppose tomorrow. I think he will go with Adrian in goal. I think it will be Trent right back, Robertson left back. For me, it'd be Matip and Van Dijk centre half. I take the point about Fabinho, but I feel he might have to play. I think he'll go with he might go with Milner and Wijnaldum in there with him, and I think the front 3 will play. And I agree with you that we might want to look for a fast start, and because we may tire towards the end. But I think we need to look to the bench, and we need fellas coming off the bench on 65, 70 that are going to come on and make an impact, and that's what they have to be there for if they want to A, stay on the bench, and B, get into this team by hook or by crook. So it's one of those for us. So Richard, before we go, I'm going to take a prediction off everybody, so I'll let you go first as you being the home team. Your prediction for tomorrow, please.
2-0 Liverpool.
Okay, straight to the point, no messing. I like it. Jay, for you, prediction for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think Liverpool will get an early goal and then hopefully we can get a second and put the game to bed. But I do fancy Southampton to maybe come on strong in the game. So I'll say a 2-1 Liverpool win.
Okay, I said all week 3-1 Liverpool. I actually said it just after the Norwich game. I was having a chat with one of the lads off the podcast when we were having a drink in Liverpool after the Norwich game, and he said 2-1. I said 3-1. I'm going to stick with that. I do like Jay's idea of Liverpool starting fast, and I think 1 usually leads to 2 with Liverpool. So I'm going to stick with 3-1. Look, lads, that's been it. 25, 26 minutes. It's been good. We've got straight to the point with regards to Southampton start of the season, Liverpool's, the Super Cup, lineups, the way we've set up, the way we look to play, predictions, the whole lot. We've covered everything in that short amount of time. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us live on Periscope and on YouTube. This show will be live as much as we possibly can throughout the season. Peter is back off holiday tonight, so he will be back next week with the preview. I won't be here, thank God, because I'm sick of listening to myself at this stage. That's been it. Jay, I'd like to thank you for joining me.
Yeah, been good. So I enjoyed the game, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. And Richard, thanks a million for joining us, and we'll talk to you again later in the season.
Thanks very much. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. That's been the Cocktail Podcast. We will talk to you soon. Following on from this show at 10:15, the Fatback 4 Daily will be live on YouTube or Periscope. Join me there at 10:15, okay? Talk to you then. Over now.